Jos is saying, of course, a former Formula One driver himself. So I think it makes it more likely that Max will feel comfortable that issues have been addressed and that there's some clear leadership direction from now on.
And if Verstappen stays, could that be good news for George Russell and the situation at Mercedes we keep hearing about?
Yes, I think it has to be good news for George Russell. It eliminates one of the possible suitors for his seat, but I think George will be asking questions of his own as to why Mercedes were actually courting Verstappen in the first place. Russell's been very successful at Mercedes. He's won many races there. He bested Lewis Hamilton in 2 of the 3 seasons that he was actually against the 7-time world champion at the team. So he'll be thinking, what more do I have to do? But this will certainly give George a little more room for confidence about his future with Mercedes.
You mentioned at the top how successful Horner had been, and perhaps this was just a prelude to what happens next and his exit from Red Bull. Where do you think he might end up?
The $1 million question, although knowing Christian Horner is what he was paid by Red Bull, the $12 million question.
Isn't that a nice question to have to pose?
It is. He has to figure out. We believe he's going to take a bit of time to assess situations. That's largely because some of the teams he could go to might not be in a position to decide yet. Ferrari, their boss, Frederick Vasseur, his contract expires at the end of 2025, so they might take a bit of time to consider their position. And then you've got Alpine, the works Renault team, but run under their sporty car brand name. The problem with Alpine is that there isn't a head of Renault at the moment because Luca De Meo has actually gone and moved jobs. So they've just got Flavio Briatore, who's at the team as an executive advisor. It's actually JD Senar, who's the head of Renault Group, or the head of the Renault Group. He would have to make that decision. And at that higher level within the Renault Group, that's going to take a bit of time. So Horner's options at the moment are a little bit on ice. But that might suit him, just have a bit of time just to reflect on what's happened in the last tumultuous 18 months.
Yeah, it's never dull, is it? Brilliant. Thank you very much for joining us, Tej.
Laurent Mekies succeeding him as the organization's new CEO. Horner's position as Red Bull team principal and CEO had been scrutinized since an investigation was opened into allegations a colleague made against him in 2024. But while he was acquitted, Red Bull's dwindling results, coupled with several senior individuals electing to leave, have continued to put pressure on Horner's standing. Horner had pledged his commitment to Red Bull as late as last month, amid reports linking him with Ferrari, but the higher-ups have decided that a change is required. His dismissal comes amid the admission earlier this month that Verstappen's entourage has had renewed contact with Mercedes about a possible move to the team. Jos Verstappen, Max's father, has been embroiled in a public quarrel with Horner that started when he declared that Red Bull would be torn apart unless he resigned. However, Raymond Vermeulen would not be drawn on the reasoning that the Verstappen camp has been given, citing that the onus is on Red Bull to reveal the details. We've been informed in advance by Red Bull's management that this decision has been taken, Vermeulen said via De Telegraph. It is up to Red Bull to give a further explanation as to the rationale. Verstappen wants more competitive Red Bull. Vermeulen contended that Verstappen's attention remains focused on Red Bull's on-track competitiveness, which has continued to decline since a slump last season. We continue to look at the sporting side and are looking for more performance so that we can return to the top. In that respect, nothing will change, he insisted. Verstappen, who is contracted to Red Bull until 2028, appears all but certain to relinquish his hold on the driver's title as he has slipped 69 points behind Oscar Piastri. We have a contract at Red Bull and are committed, as we have been for 11 years, Vermeulen added via Formula1.nl. Above all, we now want the performance to return, and quickly too. Max wants to get the best out of the material he has at his disposal, but we also realize ourselves that the championship is no longer in the cards. Max Verstappen releases statement after Christian Horner exit. Max Verstappen has shared a short message on social media following Christian Horner's sacking from the Red Bull team. Red Bull confirmed on Wednesday morning that it had parted ways with Horner following his 20-year stint in charge. His exit comes amid a turbulent year and a half, both on and off the track for Red Bull. Verstappen has won his 4 F1 titles and 65 Grand Prix wins to date in a Red Bull squad led by Horner across the last 10 seasons. A handful of hours after the news was made official, Verstappen took to social media to deliver his own goodbye to Horner. "From my first race win to 4 world championships, we have shared incredible successes," Verstappen said. "Winning memorable races and breaking countless records. Thank you for everything, Christian." Horner traveled to the Red Bull factory at Milton Keynes on Wednesday to give his own farewell message to the team. Max Verstappen's manager issues a statement in response to Red Bull axing Christian Horner. Max Verstappen's manager has expressed that it is up to Red Bull to publicize the reasons behind the decision to sack Christian Horner as the team's Formula One boss. Red Bull has announced that Horner, who had been at the helm since 2005, has departed his role, with Laurent Mekies succeeding him as the organization's new CEO. Horner's position as Red Bull team principal and CEO had been scrutinized since an investigation was opened into allegations a colleague made against him in 2024. But while he was acquitted, Red Bull's dwindling results, coupled with several senior individuals electing to leave, have continued